next along into, we're going to talk about To Kill a Mockingbird. To Kill a Mockingbird, the significance of the title. Mockingbirds do not do one thing but make music for us to enjoy. They don't do one thing but sing their hearts out for us. That is why it is a sin to kill a mockingbird. Miss Maltby. This is significant because, as the quote indicates, mockingbirds are innocent. Just like mockingbirds are innocent, innocence is a central theme in the book. Some of the characters, for example, Scout, Tom, Boo, and Mayella, you will, are innocent. Main characters and the plot development. For starters, Scout. Scout is the child narrator of the story. In the beginning of the story, she is very innocent and does not see the way Macomb County is biased against black people. She plays a critical role in many conversations as she grows older and realizes injustice and prejudice of people. Next, Jem. Jem is the older brother of Scout. He also has a childhood innocence, but comes to realize the injustice and prejudice of people sooner than Scout will. Next, Boo Radley. Boo is the misunderstood neighbor to Scout and Jem. No one ever knew who he was or ever saw him. However, he left gifts for the kids in the knothole of a tree, and he quietly put a blanket over Scout's shoulder when Miss Maltby's house was on fire. As Scout matures in the book, she realizes that Macomb and the kids were judging Boo without really knowing him or who he was. Next, we have Atticus Finch. Atticus is Scout and Jem's father. He has an honest and open relationship with the children and teaches them many moral lessons throughout the book. Most importantly, he teaches them that he is defending Tom Robinson out of the conscience. He also knows that Tom is innocent and it is the right thing to do. Tom Robinson. Tom is a black man accused of raping and beating Mayella E. Wool. He is innocent and maintains his innocence in the book, but because he is black, he is the target of Macomb society. Next, we have Walter Cunningham. Walter is the father of one of Scout's classmates, and he is known as the poor man in town who receives government help. He appears with a mob of men at the jail where Tom Robinson is being held. When Scout has a conversation with him about how he knows his son, he tells the mob to leave. This is a critical moment in the book because Scout loses some innocence as she basically calls Walter out. Mayella E. Wool. Mayella's mother passed away and she became a mom of her younger siblings. Her father was poor and the family did not have much to their name. Mayella would ask Tom to do random chores for her, and she offered to pay him at first. But after that, she did not offer to pay him. She grabbed him and kissed him. Then, later out of fear, she accused him of raping and beating her. White people did not have relationships with black people in this time. Bob E. Wool. Bob E. Wool is Mayella's father. When he was called to the stand to testify at Tom's trial, he maintained his daughter's innocence, and he was angry that Atticus made him write his name with his right hand. He felt Atticus was making fun of him, and it suggested that he hit Mayella and not Tom. Harper Lee's use of a child narrator. Harper Lee uses Scout as a narrator because it serves an interesting purpose. She seems very smart for her age. For example, she can read and write before going to school, which most kids did not. She's also very immature, like believing Boo Radley was a scary man without even knowing who he was or what he looked like. As the story progresses, she starts to realize the roles of black and whites play in Macomb society, and she begins to question why Atticus is defending a black man. After the trial, she realizes that prejudice occurs and there are injustices. The moral of the story from Scout as the narrator is you should walk in other people's shoes before you make judgments. The theme of innocence. Throughout the book, there is a theme of innocence. This is carried through characters like Scout, Jim, Tom, and Boo. Throughout the book, the quote, "Don't kill a mockingbird," is in the background. Scout and Jim learn that even though they thought that Tom would be found innocent based on evidence presented, he was found guilty. Tom was firm in his that he did not do anything to Mayella, and he ran because he was scared for his life. Boo was just a reclusive next-door neighbor who did not do any harm to anyone. These characters are examples of mockingbirds. Quotes that support the theme of innocence. There are several quotes in the book that support the theme of innocence. Here are a few. I think there is just one kind of folks, Scouts. Scout and Jim are talking about the people in Maycomb, and Jim believes that even if a black person graduated from Harvard, he would still be lower in the social status than a white person. This belief by Jim is further explored by him, stating that even poor people such as Bob Ewell hold higher place in society than blacks because Bob is white. Scout disagrees. She thinks that all people are equal. She knows that there are differences based on education, but not based on skin color. Our next quote is, "Cry about the simple hell people give other people without thinking. Cry about the hell white people give colored folks without even stopping to think they're people too." Dolphus Raymond. Dolphus is talking about Scout and Dill and trying to explain they are too young to really understand that Atticus is unique in defending a black man. He says that Scout and Dill have very limited knowledge based on their limited experience in Maycomb and in life. Next, so it took an 8-year-old child to bring in to their senses. That proves something, that a gang of wild animals can be stopped simply because they're still human. Maybe we need a police force of children. Atticus is explaining to Mr. Cunningham that it was a part of a mob, people that Atticus knew, who came to hurt him for defending Tom Robinson. When the children spoke to Mr. Cunningham like he was someone they knew and they knew his kid, Mr. Cunningham retreated and put himself into Atticus' shoes for a moment. Our last quote is, "Atticus told me to delete the adjectives and I'd have facts." Atticus is trying to express that something you can get the truth when you take out the biased adjectives. In this scene, Jem is going through a phase at school where they are studying Egyptians. He exaggerates his knowledge about Egyptians, but Scout remembers Atticus' phrase about removing adjectives to get the truth. Examples of prejudice and injustice and how they relate to today. There are many examples of prejudice today. The one that stands out the most to me is the homeless crisis. Homeless people are often portrayed as being alcoholics, mentally ill, and lazy. In reality, not all homeless people are alcoholics, mentally ill, or lazy. Other reasons for homeless. Situational homeless. Lost a house in a fire, lost a job, kicked out by parents or roommates, evicted by landlord or mortgage company. Or they might have PTSD, veterans, law enforcement, EMS, or anyone else who has suffered trauma. Homeless people are sometimes treated unjustly. For example, they are not given an opportunity to rent a house or apartment and get back up on their feet. They are not given an opportunity to be hired for work. They are kicked out of homeless camps when cities had to do a cleanup. Not enough safe housing for homeless people. Assume they are the reasons for crimes in the area. And assume they are the reason for a drop in the economy because no one wants to shop with a homeless person nearby. The mob scene, the movie versus the books. There are some subtle differences in the mob scene in the movie compared to the book. For the movie, when Scout and Jem rush to Atticus in the jail, Scout is picked up by a man. She kicks him in the shin. In the movie, the mob men are also holding rifles. However, in the book, when Scout is picked up by a man, as she enters the mob, she kicks the man in the private area, not the shin. The mob men are not holding rifles, and Scout tells Atticus that she meant no harm by talking about the entitlements with Mr. Walter Cunningham. Mr. Underwood is also not present in the movie. he was listening on the mob conversation and tells Atticus he was protecting him for the newspaper office. The movie versus the book. I am always more moved by movies than books, so for me, the movie was more effective in this scene because I could see the faces of the characters instead of imagining them. The pauses in the conversation were more effective in stirring the emotions and getting the points across. And I could sense Scout and Jim's anxiety when they saw the mob surrounding Atticus. The outcome of Tom Robinson trials, my thought. I was surprised about the outcome of the trial. I thought even though blacks were not treated equally, the following made it clear that Tom Robinson was innocent. Number 1, Sheriff Tate did not call a doctor to review Mayella's injuries. Number 2, Mayella changed her story or was unclear in her explanation of events that happened. Number 3, Tom Robinson was convincing that he was fearful for his life because he was a black person, so he ran away after Mayella grabbed him. Number 4, Tom Robinson's left arm was too short to have hit Mayella in the right eye. Number 5, the jury deliberated for a while instead of instantly returning a guilty verdict. That is my presentation on To Kill a Mockingbird. Thank you.